What are some unfortunate last names? I attended the bimbo stoner wedding. The woman chose to take the stoner last name in the end. I went to school with a girl with the last name Butts. My wife worked with a lady whose last name was Sackrider. Hooker. There was an Asian at my HS named Fat Ho. I believe he went by Andrew. I know someone named Holden Cox. Kerr, especially when your first name is Wayne. Cockburn, Olivia Wilde's actual last name. This will be funnier for the Brits probably. But years ago, there was a woman in the US arm of the company I worked for called Fanny Gravy. Lipschitz. Poo. In a scientific seminar last week someone referred to poo et al. And I totally lost it. Wiener. Dickman knew someone with this. Dick Bong. Army WW2 Medal of Honor recipient. The headmistress at the Catholic girls' school outside of Chicago was named Sister Nipple. I kid you not, in high school, I had a substitute teacher named Harry Ball. Schickelgruber. Dick Trickle, the NASCAR driver. Went to university with a guy whose last name was Creep. My high school principal's name was Mr. Peacock. First name Chris. Cunts. Sluts. No joke. Not pronounced sloots like you hope it would be. Worked with a dude named Schmuck. Lived up to it. Tree Gaylord Stone. Cummings. Knew a lawyer named Menlove. Named his practice Menlove Law. He saw no problem with this. Honestly, all those cases in which name and surname are almost identical. For example, William Williams, John Johnson, etc. I would bet there aren't a lot of Hitlers around. Roach. I am Dutch and I saw a gravestone once with Titia Seboer, which literally translates to small tit soup farmer. Buttlicker. Pig. I served with a guy whose last name was Kochemer. Obviously everyone called him Cockhammer. It was actually Coke-a-mare. Fuchs. Glasscock. Sandusky. I knew a lady who married a Greek guy whose last name was 22 characters long. She said that was heaven, as her maiden name was Lick. She said that middle school and high school were daily terrors. Teasing and harassment never ended. Worked at a bank and helped a Mr. A swad. When I looked it up, sure enough, it was spelled Aswad. Verified the spelling too. No lie, I knew an unfortunate soul named Whorehole. Butkus as in Dick Butkus, who actually recently died. I lived next door to a Buttram family. Coochie. Dickinson is Oofles. My professor's last name was Fick. He said he was actually questioned when traveling to Germany. I heard of a lady with the last name Turd. I went to high school with a Sean Hooker. He married his high school sweetheart and they has 3 daughters. They all have their mother's last name. Whitehead. McDick. Really depends on the first name accompanied with the last name. If the last name is Black, then it wouldn't be bad if the first name was John or something. What would suck though is if the first name was Dick. I met a man at work named Eric Come a few days ago. I knew if I commented, I would be instantly fired. Dick Raper. I dated a guy whose last name was Phlegm. Richard Head aka Dickhead. Neurologist, nice guy. Hyman. Chuffert. Went to school with this guy, his last name was Titsworth and he had sisters. Fangboner. In my alumni newsletter, They have engagement and wedding announcements. A guy a few years ahead of me, Calvin Poon, was engaged to Jenny Tang. The title of the announcement read Poon Tang Man Facepalming. Game show host Bradley Walsh lost it live when one of the answers to a question about Olympic skiing was Fanny Schmeller. I met a lady named Miss Cutie. I got the impression she was sensitive about it, and I can see why. Head. Parents knew a guy by the name of Richard Head, so that just makes it worse. Hogg is the last name of a famous family in Texas. They named their daughter Emma. I knew a Richard Moorhead from high school. Rolling on the floor laughing. Hussy. Knew a kid with the last name Gaylord. And he went to a military academy with me, so we all had to refer to him as that cold sweat smile. Porn. I know a guy named John Porn. How the fuck is that even a legit last name? Tinkelrot. Pain or any spelling close. Especially if a dentist or any kind of doctor. Met a family last name Cluck last weekend. Gross. Penix. That family of college football players over the years whose last name is Booty. Josh Booty. Abram Booty. John David Booty. General Booty. I assume youth sports were especially tough on the teasing front until they showed how good they were. Who knows? More power to them. Went to grade school with a girl whose surname was Guttekunts. That poor child. Also. Done. Back when there were phone books and no caller ID. My adolescent self would call up people named Dunn, and when they answered I would ask, "Are you done?" When they replied in the affirmative, I would say, "Well, don't forget to flush good times." A woman I know hyphenated her name to Chin Fat when she got married. Had a guy who I went to school college with, who had dwarfism and his last name was Small. Seaman. Hornberger. Butkus gotta admire his parents for leaning into it by naming him Richard. Bud or Butts. Balzac. Bet you can guess his nickname. Glasscock. My mom worked with a gynecologist named Dr. Raper. There was also a hospital in DFW called Deadman Hospital named after a benefactor. It was since been renamed RHD Hospital. Cox. Nutter. Akin boner. Yes, it's real, you can Google it. Akic. Gay. Went to school with a girl whose last name was Pitts. And another whose last name was Moron. I don't think this one is unfortunate. But it is more unique. And from someone else I went to school with Bonbon. I saw a book today. The author's last name was Duty. Duty. Dong has to be up there. Ho, especially if you're a girl. There was a woman who stayed in the hotel I worked at with the surname Peniston. NASCAR racer by the name of Dick Trickle. I had an ex whose last name was Dick. Glad I got out of that one. Musk. Danny Woodcock. Longtime car builder racer Henry Smokey Yunick. Stool. A-cup. Sexton whore. Brownsword. Glasscock. At least you'll always see them coming. Cur. That's not so bad until you name a kid Wayne. Dies. Fokker. I worked with a guy whose last name is Nipple. Cock. A guy at my bank is named Mangina. I'm old Greg. Anything containing dick or bottom. My brother worked with a Richard. Last name Kick. He went by Dick. I went to school with heavy-set girl whose last name was Obiso, obese in Spanish, loudly crying. Gaylord.